Hello, everybody. Welcome to Libertarian Front. Today, I want to talk a little bit about foreign aid, foreign assistance from the United States to foreign countries because it is in the news, right? We have here an article from The Guardian. Mike Johnson aid bills, who's the Speaker of the House. What is the U.S. Speaker's plan for Ukraine and Congress, and will it pass Congress? And my understanding is that there's been a lot of debate over this bill. Originally, the Republicans in Congress wanted to tie any additional aid to Ukraine to a bill that would also implement further border security for the United States. And through negotiations, I believe that Speaker Johnson has agreed to allow the bill for foreign aid to Ukraine to be voted on individually, as well as a bill for Israel to get foreign aid to be voted on individually, because there was talk about packaging Israel with Ukraine, and then also an aid package for Taiwan to be voted on individually, right? And you can look at all three of those countries, and you can see what the United States' goals are there, right? So if we're giving foreign aid, we're giving money and weapons and assistance to Ukraine, it's to counter Russia. We're giving money assistance to Israel, it is to counter any anti-Israel forces in the Middle East, including Iran. If we are giving money to Taiwan, it is to counter China. But I want to talk a little bit deeper about foreign aid. Like, what is the purpose of United States foreign aid, foreign assistance? We call it aid, and that makes you think that the payments are for a humanitarian reason. But is that really where this money is going, right? With those top three countries, I think it's obvious it's not. It is going to the military to support military efforts of these countries. But we're going to take a look at the top 10 countries that the United States sent foreign aid to in 2023 and figure out why. Why did the United States send this aid to these countries? Is it for humanitarian reasons? Or is it for something else? Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. My name is Joe Palmetto. This is Libertarian Front. I talk about libertarianism. I talk about politics. Talk about current events in the news. I am a political science major with a focus on international politics and also East Asian politics. I have a minor in Japanese and also a law degree. I also served in the United States Air Force for 4 years, was stationed in Japan for 2 years. And so I like to talk about these subjects. I hope you find it interesting, and I hope you find my opinions to be credible and to give you a different point of view from what you see perhaps in the mainstream media. So I did a little bit of a Google search here, and this was what I thought to be a good and accurate chart. And let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger for everyone without without eliminating my face from the screen. Okay. All right. We have here the 10 countries. So this is 2023. Well, actually, the top 15 countries for foreign aid. And remember, they use the name aid and assistance, all right? But I think we all know that it's used for military purposes, right? To boost the militaries of these countries, oftentimes. But what else is it used for? Well, number one, 2020, okay, this was in 2022. All right, this is 2022. I saw a list for 2023. It was very close. It closely shadowed this. So number one, you have Ukraine. And we talk about what's the purpose of U.S. aid in Ukraine. Well, it serves a very specific purpose, right? To pay for Ukraine's military and to pay for their war against Russia. So it's countering Russia. Therefore, it's being used for strategic geopolitical purposes in order to increase United States influence on the global stage, but also to protect United States interests and United States allies. Number two, Israel. Same thing, right? They're number two, $3 billion. There was 12 billion went to Ukraine, 3 billion to Israel, and Israel over the years has been a consistent beneficiary of United States aid. And it's interesting. It's all in red, so it's all military aid. We're sending weapons directly to Israel. But then comes a more interesting country, right? This gets much more interesting as we go down. Ethiopia is number three. $2 billion. Ethiopia is number three. Well, did anybody realize that Ethiopia has been embroiled in civil conflicts and wars over the past few years? Yeah, very interesting. And so is the United States aid, economic aid to Ethiopia, but we might really be giving money to Ethiopia in order to assist the government of Ethiopia in fighting the rebels, the separatist forces. There's a separatist movement in Ethiopia. And then number four, we have Afghanistan, $1.3 billion to a country run by the Taliban. What is the point of that? If you break it, I guess maybe you have to fix it, or maybe in Afghanistan, the United States is essentially and they say it's for economic aid or humanitarian aid. I really wonder if money given to Afghanistan, if there's any guarantee it goes where it needs to go, or is the United States just paying off the Taliban so that they will behave? Right? So that they will behave, so that they will be good actors on the world scene, which is in the strategic interest of the United States. And I think, we have something similar going on here in Ethiopia, right? And as you move down, you're going to see several African countries, Ethiopia. We'll get into the Middle Eastern countries. I mean, Egypt's in Africa, but we're going to talk about that as Middle East. So we have Ethiopia, we have Nigeria, Somalia, South Sudan, Kenya, Congo, Sudan, Uganda. Now, all of those countries likely could and would benefit from money that for humanitarian purposes. But I think we have to remember as well, though, that there is a conflict of sorts that is going on in China, in Africa, because China is investing heavily in Africa. China is foreign aid and investment in Africa. China is building railroads. China's become a source of significant aid, investment, and loans for countries across the African continent. So over the past 10 to 15 years, China has really been trying to influence Africa, because Africa is seen as and it rightfully should be, as a continent that will see huge economic growth over the next few decades. And they also have a lot of natural resources that the larger countries are interested in. So China has been trying to build inroads in Africa by giving them loans, by giving them money, by building things, by sending scientists, engineers there to do work, okay? And I believe that part of this, the foreign aid that you are seeing to African countries given by the United States, these African countries, is to counter the influence of China. Because the United States wants governments aligned with them inside of Africa. Huge continent. Much of the future of the world is going to play out, believe it or not, in Africa. So alliances being formed there are extremely important. And what better way to form an alliance with a country than to give that country money and to also help that country win or suppress a civil war. So we see Ethiopia as number one. And then we see here Nigeria. Nigeria, the most populous country in Africa, a burgeoning economic and global power. Somalia, keep it together, right? Maybe we're paying them off to make the pirates stop. South Sudan, a breakaway country from Greater Sudan that needs support for their government. And the United States can help them and also buy their loyalty. Kenya, Congo, similar situation. It says Kinshasa. That's because the Congo is greatly divided. So the United States is giving money to the recognized government in Kinshasa. And then, of course, we have Uganda down here. So I think the African aid serves a couple of purposes, right? Yes, we're helping countries that are poor, but we are helping these countries deal with their internal problems by giving them money. And in exchange, we get a government that is friendly towards the United States. But like I said, that's not always the case, right? Like the Taliban are openly hostile to the United States, but we're still paying them off, right? We're paying them off to behave. So let's look at the next countries that are receiving foreign aid. Yemen, Egypt, Jordan. If you'll notice, you saw in the news recently that Jordanian jets helped to shoot down some of the missiles sent from Iran that were targeting Israel. The United States provides Jordan with significant military and economic aid. And that is in exchange for Jordan allying with the United States, allying with Israel, and not against Israel. Jordan is being paid to a certain degree to have some better behavior. The same is true of Israel, of Egypt. Egypt, significant military aid, and historically, Egypt and Jordan were very anti-Israel, and some of the wars that were fought and after World War II, all the way through the 1970s between Israel and Middle East, involved Egypt and Jordan. They were main protagonists. And now they are friendly to Israel, or at least non-aligned. And I promise you that their alignment that has something to do with the fact that they receive $1 billion a year from the United States. And I'm not saying that that's everything, right? But money influences people. And this money that we're spending, it's not United States foreign aid, okay, or foreign assistance. That's a nice way to put it. What it is it's money that is being paid to secure United States national security and global interests, to secure peace in an area, because peace in the Middle East or peace in a certain area is seen as beneficial to the United States. So it is ultimately out of self-interest, even though it is cloaked in a veneer of foreign aid. Another interesting one down here, right? You have Afghanistan, you have Somalia. These are countries that can be hostile to the United States. And then we have Syria, another situation, almost $1 billion a year given to Syria. Syria is a total mess. And I don't know exactly where this money goes, if it goes to the Bashar Assad government in Damascus. But we're paying $826 million to Syria, probably to try to keep things contained or help to fight ISIS. So, and all you need to know about United States foreign aid, I mean, read the Wikipedia page. And, I highlighted this down here. A study in 2006 found that United States foreign assistance to a country rose by an average of 59% when that country occupied one of the rotating seats on the UN Security Council and fell back to normal levels when it vacated the seat. So the United States increased the money they sent to these countries once these countries were in positions of power. The reason I share this with you is because I want us all to have a better understanding whenever these things are being debated in Congress, right? And, a lot of people, and, as somebody who identifies as libertarian, I'm not the greatest fan. I'm not the biggest fan of foreign aid. But foreign aid is not a giveaway. It's generally not a giveaway. The United States is receiving something in return. We are influencing these countries. Now, 100 years ago, it'd be easy to say that this wasn't necessary or that. Okay, but the world is, I think we all agree, it's getting smaller. Globalization is increasing. And so, while again, I'm not the biggest fan of U.S. foreign aid. I think it has to be done very smartly and limited in a limited basis, but it probably is necessary, and it can really help secure peace and secure peace for trade and commercial interests, the United States and the globe at large. It's not the giveaway, the kind of bleeding heart donations that sometimes people on the right side of politics can paint it out to be. We are securing we're securing strategic interests throughout the world by using United States foreign aid, and it may also happen to help a country at the same time. But look who's getting this foreign aid: Afghanistan, Syria, Somalia, right? Like, why are we're doing that? Because we're paying these countries to be good and hoping that they will be good. And it certainly doesn't always work. Just like with the United States paid Iran a lot of money, and I don't think they got much in return for that. But if the list goes on and on, right? I mean, we give foreign aid to almost every country in the world. So I think we got to take a serious look at this: billions and billions of dollars. Okay. But it's securing strategic interests around the world. That's why the United States does it. And these bills with Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan are very front of the list right now because, they're kind of conflict based, right? So it carries a lot of weight right now. But don't be fooled by what it's called, right? Foreign aid. It's money spent to secure strategic interests, and you're better served if you think about it in that way. All right, thank you everybody for tuning in to Libertarian Front. I'm your host, Joe Palmetto. If you like my content, please like and subscribe. I need views, I need likes, I need subscribers so I can eventually get this channel monetized. Thank you very much. Have a great day.